فعايز داير انا اقوم احول شويه في الترتيب وداير امشي لاسراء. اسراء انت معانا سامعانا؟
يا سامعكم.
طيب يا جماعه انا حقدم اسراء دي عندنا لقاء كامل معاها موجود في اليوتيوب وممكن تشوفوه كله، وعندها قصص مشهوره، والفيديو بتاع اسراء ده شافوه قريب المليون بلس، لانه نحن لما عملنا له تراكنج لقينا مليون ايام الثوره، وهي زوله وطنيه وبتمشي السودان وبتحمل. نحن الليله دايرين نتكلم لنا عن السودان هنا وليس السودان هناك، نحن ركزنا كثير وما قصرت. والفيديو ده يا جماعه اللي ما شافه يمشي يشوفه في اليوتيوب. لكن بدي اقول حاجتين يا جماعه لانه مهم جدا يا جماعه، زي ما قالت السيده اخوتنا الاستاذ انتصار، نحن عندنا يا جماعه كفاءات كبيره، الاستاذ انتصار وهذاك بيلماني واسمه منه وسع الحي ده تسمعون كلهم يا جماعه. وي نيد تو ليسن تو ذم لانه عندهم كثير كثير بيسمعوا له. يعني انا الله يزيدك والله يطول في عمرك ويخليك لاهلك ويحفظك. انا لما جبت او جاتنا اسمها منه اسراء معاها دكتوره تماضر من نيوكاسل بتذكر، في سودانيين في الغاء على مرقنا في البريك قال لي والله احنا اول مره نعرف سودانيين بالجوده دي، كان بيعملوا ريفرنس ليا وناس تماضر ودكتور سهير حمد النيل. يا جماعه موجودين عندنا شباب زي ديل، مش شباب ناجحين وبس. يعني لو دخلت الجرائد الجارديان التايمز كلهم بيتكلموا عن الشابه دي انها كيف قدرت تتعامل مع الاسلاموفوبيا بطريقه جريئه وايجابيه. انا ما حاتكلم، حوقف هنا. ورينا تجربتك انت يا اسراء، وورينا حياتي في سنه كم لانك انت ستيل يانج في الجامعه، وورينا الدروس المستفاده الغير الموجوده في الاعلام لنا كسودانيين بكالشرنا نستفيد منك. تفضلي يا اسراء.
Hi everyone. أنا أتكلم عربي لكن هتكلم إنجليزي.
على راحتك تتكلمي.
I'm gonna get my point across better. But so I started my anti-racism campaign when I was 16 and 15 when I was in school, and it was right after the Islamophobia rise after the Paris attacks in France. So it's been quite a long fight. So I'm currently an ambassador at Showrace in the Red Card, where I work with a lot of football players and young people tackling the issues of racism in school from a young age. And I'm also studying pharmacy at the moment in the University of Sunderland at the same time. So also recently been nominated to be a councillor here in Newcastle. So it's a lot of work that I'm doing at once, but it's all for the benefit of Sudan and the Sudanese community and of the young people around my age. So my fight has been a fight that I've been doing for a long time, and ever since I was young, I've always wanted to better the community. So my parents are extremely supportive of something like this because that's what I always wanted to do. My story is I started fighting Islamophobia when I was 15 and took off from there. My school was very supportive and they pushed me, to be the best that I can. So when it comes to the Sudanese youth in the UK or in Europe as a whole, because I lived in Ireland as well for 7 years, we as young people, whenever you bring us from Sudan to a foreign country, we still do stick to our roots, most of us anyways. I do for sure because I'm proud to be Sudanese, and I go to Sudan every year to maintain that, and I spend at least a month there to make sure I still stay true to my history and my heritage and my language, of course. And like Dr. Nisar said, احنا في البيت برضو ماما بتمنع الإنجليزي, so we have to speak Arabic at home all the time. So, which it helped a lot because, my younger siblings all grew up outside Sudan. I'm the only one who grew up in Sudan. So that helped us a lot. But when it comes to, a lot of the parents are asking in the comments with, how do you know what your child is doing and how do you know what we do outside the house? And the only thing I can say is we are more than happy to tell you, but it's your approach to how you answer or react to what we tell you. It's very difficult for us to tell you certain things that go on, because a lot of Sudanese parents choose to pretend some of these things don't happen rather than discuss them with their kids at home. So what's really important is, even because you as a parent, when you move to a country which is not Muslim and is not under the Sharia law, that drinking and clubbing and all this is happening, but you choose not to tell your child about it because you think you're shielding them. But you need to remember that we go to school and we hang out with our friends, so our friends tell us all this information. So it's better to hear it from you first. And that's what my parents did when I first moved here. They tell me all the things that are going on and why I can't do it. And when you tell us no, the only thing I always say to my mom when I was younger is, why? Why do you tell me no? You can't just say, because I said so. And you need a reason to tell your child so they understand why you told them no. So for example, you can't go out until 12 at night. Well, why can't I go at 12 at night? You know, because it's dangerous, because you're this, because you're that. We need to know why we can't go out till, you know, and like till midnight or whatever. So I think that's really, really important. And the way I went through it is I went to school in a pretty rough area. So because when I first moved here, I couldn't get to school in the better areas. So there was a lot of peer pressure from my friends, you know, who were in gangs, and my friends who did. There was a lot of people who did drug deal, and there was a lot, you know, and I saw it, and it was there, and it was around me. But I would go home and I would tell my mum. I'd be like, Mum, did you know this is happening? Did you know that is happening? Mama was always ready with an answer. She was educated in that sense. If like, if I came home and told her, you know, there's a gang in school, she'd be like, yes, I know there's a gang in school, but you don't need to be a part of that because of so and so. And I also feel like a lot of, this is more pointed to the young people who are watching, we forget how much our parents have gave up in order for us to have a better future. And I never forget that. Like, you have to remember, your parents have chosen to leave their families, their friends, their home in order to give you a better life, and you don't want to be another statistic to bring that down. They've sacrificed so much in order to make you a better person and give you a better life, so why become another statistic? And that's really important. Just because people in school are choosing to tell you, you know, join us and you can do this and come do this with us, and it's not that big of a deal or whatever, it's not important, it's not worth it at the end of the day. You know, the way I see it is, when I graduate university, but the first thing I want to do is give back to my parents everything they've sacrificed for me and everything they've done for me to give me a better life. And that's the goal. So I think that's really, really important, and that's something we should all focus on. And communication between me and my parents is very clear. Like, I tell my parents everything and everything that's going on in my life because I feel like they need to know, we need to remember that. Even though it's really difficult, and I feel one of the reasons Sudanese parents sometimes don't like to get involved in the census before they're talking about involving the police, is because as a community, we have this stigma where we care too much about what people think. Like, it's true, we really care too much about what people think, so we choose to handle things ourselves rather than, you know, ask for help, because we don't want people to see us as a failure. And we need to let that go, because whenever your safety and your child's safety is, you know, in question, you need to let that go, because that's way more important. So yeah, and I also think another thing is that I really want to cover is, some of you might wonder why some kids join gangs or why some kids choose to rebel, and it's because we don't know where to fit in. Because at home, we might find it difficult to talk to our parents about certain things, or your approach to how we talk about things is usually angry or aggressive, or you're unhappy with us. And in school, we don't know where to fit in either, because everyone's, you know, different, and so we turn to people who are obviously a bad influence at us, because all the outcasts choose to be together, because when they're outcasts together, they have that one thing in common where, you know, they don't get along with their parents, they don't get along with friends or siblings. So now they're all together. And the way to avoid that is to have an open communication with your child. If you're going to ask us a question, you need to approach it in a way that we will be able to give you a proper answer, where we know we can trust you. And that's very important. But if you approach us in an angry way, or, you know, passive aggressive, and like, because at the end of the day, as much as you're my parent, I would love for you to be my friend as well, because you're the one who has more life experiences than I do, and I want your opinion and, you know, your advice and stuff like that. So I think that's really important as well. And I feel at the moment things have gotten worse, because obviously with the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement, we feel a bit like outcasts as, you know, young Black people and in the community and stuff like that. And we just need to remember, you know, as long as we stay together and we stay true to our heritage and to who we are as people, you know, everything will go forward from there. And that's the way for it, really. For me personally, like, I think my parents' support for sure, you know, my parents have always been my number one support. They've always been there for me when I needed anything, and it's why I have that open communication with them, because the way they approach me with things, if I'm doing something wrong, rather than shouting at me, they would sit me down and tell me what I've done wrong and how I can improve from that. And I think that's a point all parents should take, because that's when we will start to trust you and tell you more information about our lives.
Isra, thank you very, very much. I can see I mean there is huge messages here وانا برضه under pressure هنا because لانه دكتور تماضر قلنا لها لحد الساعه 5 وهي عندها التزام والتزمت معانا، شيخ بابكر مريض، يعني عندي ما شاء الله ما اعرف ذاته يعني I'm overwhelmed بالجود speakers we have. لكن I want you إسراء just one question. في الستوري بتاعت إسراء كلها لكل الشباب التينيج والفاميلي والبيرنتس، نحن لخصنا جزء بسيط جدا منها في الفيلم، شوفوه في اليوتيوب. لكن أنا I want to excite the youngest, I want to excite all the teenagers including my daughter. Isra is being featured in the UK main promo video about racism, how to combat racism. The same like the football tonight, when you see the football, the Premium League, the people knee down. This is part of Black Lives Matter. Isra, the British government, when they launched this show racism, the red card, they selected celebrities. I will not tell you who they are. The film is there, the video is there. But Isra, tell them the celebrities in the video of show the racism where you've been featured. Tell them who else with them, with you, whom you enjoy their company.
We have England's manager, you know, the football team, Gareth Southgate. We have Harry Kane, Moselle from Arsenal. He's on there. We tried to get Stormzy on, but it's quite difficult. But we have a lot of football players on the video, and it's getting pushed more and more over time. But I think that's the goal, the reason we put people on there that are really big names, you know, like Harry Kane and Moselle and Dele Alli, is because we wanted to get in touch with people, young people who have these role models, so they're more likely to listen to them. And that's the reason. But the video is called Show Racism, the Red Card. It's on their website.
Yes.
You can pre-order it or you can watch it online and you'll find it. And there's also a trailer on YouTube.
So my message to the teenagers, including my daughter, there is no more fame than this. There is no more excitement. There is no more celebrity than this. She is featured, the main character. And you can go and watch it. Don't take me by my word. Go and watch it. The main character on that video is Isra. ربنا يحفظك ويحفظك لها. ناس كثيرين now she brought دعاء to her parents. يعني هسه في ناس بيدعوا لأمها وأبوها بالخير والبركة لأن عشان هذه بنتهم، لأنه أكيد هم كانوا رول موديل زي ما قال أستاذ انتظار. لكن تخيلوا يا تينيجرز يا شباب إنك تكون في celebrity ahead of Gareth Gate, ahead of الكابتن بتاع انجلند اللي لسه هنشوفه بعدين الساعة 5:30 ده، نحن هنخلص قبل 5 عشان تشوفوه. هي كانت دي الكمباني بتاعتها، حتى لو فرضنا شيء ذا celebrity، إسراء ذا celebrity no question. إسراء شكرا جزيلا وربنا يحفظك. أنا I need to move quickly ولأنه عندي ناس I have to bring them earlier. I wish I could have gone the same order عشان to bring a perspective. لكن شكرا جزيلا يا إسراء. Thank you very much.
بنحلم بفضاء أوسع، بنحلم بزمن أجمل، بلاد ميلاد، بلاد ميلاد. بنحلم بفضاء أوسع، بنحلم بزمن أجمل، بلاد ميلاد، بلاد ممتد لحد حدود الحد، وطن لا فيه